So let's see another example where we're given the bounds on the function, and we have to come up with describing it as either a type 1, a type 2, or a type 3 region. Let's say that the bounds on this region, again, we're dealing in the xy plane. And let's say that one of our functions is the function y equals 1 over x. Recall that that is a function where I have vertical and horizontal asymptotes, and my negative values go something like this. I'll label this function as y equals 1 over x. I have another function right here given by y equals negative x. So that's just a negative line that goes straight through. A line through the origin that has negative slope 1. This is the line y equals negative x. I also, whoops, this should be a 4. Sorry. I also have the line y equals 2 as one of my bounds. Whoops. There we go. And I have the line y equals 4 as one of my bounds. Y equals 2, y equals 4. This is one of the important first steps in trying to decide what's going on. I have all these lines, crazy messy lines. Where is this region actually talking about? And because we don't know where it's lesser than or greater than or between, it's hard to find out. We know, however, that if my bounds are between 2 and 4, these are constants. So I know that they have to lie between the values of 2 and 4. So if I'm looking within this strip where my y values are ranging from 2 to 4, I know that in order to be between these two functions, I'm looking at the center interior region that I'll highlight in blue. So this is making sure that my y values are above 2, my y values are below 4, and my y values are also between these two crazy functions. So how am I going to describe this region? Some of my regions, I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. I know the fact that my y's in this case are between 2 and 4, so I could set it up so that 2 is less than or equal to y is less than or equal to 4. Because my y values are bounded by constants, it means that my x values are the ones that I have to have as functions of y. That means that right now everything is given as a function of y. If my y values are the ones that are going to be the constants, I see that it's squiggly in the x direction, that I need to rewrite these functions. Instead of being functions of y, I need to rewrite them as functions of x, because I need to know what are the bounds on my x values. The picture in this case is the fact that this region, I'm actually slicing up into horizontal, oh, I should do that in blue. I'm slicing up this region into horizontal slices. And I want to know how long is each of this slice. So this line is going to be the left-hand side of the slice, and this line is going to be the right-hand side of the slice. So step 1, I'm going to rewrite my functions as functions where I have some function gamma of y is equal to x. Because right now I don't have my x variable solved for. But that's not that hard to do for this function. If I want to rewrite my solve for x, when I solve for x, I get x is equal to negative y, just through algebra. And I could solve this function also for x by multiplying by x and then dividing by y. So solving for x for this function gives me that x is equal to 1 over y. So now that I've solved for x, I need to know what are the bounds on x in this case. The left-hand side is the one that's more negative, so it's the one that's lower. And in this case, the lower function is the function negative y. So in this case, negative y is always going to be less than or equal to my x values, because my x values are somewhere in here. And the maximum value in this case is where my x values are given by 1 over y. So my region, if I wanted to, 2, this was my step 2, was to just write this inequality. So we just found that we can represent this Is this a type 1 or a type 2 region? It turns out this is a type 2 region. I don't really care if you remember the names, but the idea is that I need to have my bounds in one of the directions be constants, and my bounds in the other direction should be variable functions. So my final answer in this case is that the bounds on my x values are going to be between negative y and 1 over y, and the bounds on my y values are going to be between 2 and 4. And visually you can see that I'm adding up these horizontal slices between where my y equals 2 and my y equals 4.